The highly anticipated mid-beta cycle balance patch is here, and this changes the game in some interesting ways, and I think this is going to be a really cool one because it kind of shows us the way Blizzard are looking at balancing this game going forward, and they are addressing some pretty big issues. Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the channel. I'm Stylosa. So in this video, we're going to break down in detail all of the changes to all of the heroes in this big patch. We've got a, can we call this a Symmetra rework? We've got Symmetra Buff, which is probably not enough. We get Sojourn nerfs, but do they actually do anything to Sojourn's play and were they needed? Orisa changes as well, Junker Queen nerfs, Doomfist buffs. There's loads of stuff to cover, so get ready. We're going to go into massive detail. Today's video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends, and I'm sure you guys have heard of this game before, but it has got now over 600 champions, an insane variety of bosses too. And in this little spotlight, we're going to take a look at one of the bosses. This is Astronax the Dark Fae. Her main trick is the doppelgangers. At the start of combat, she'll duplicate your whole team, so you need to be able to take out your own guys right away. Now, that's not too hard if you put someone super fast in who can do the turn meter manipulation. You'll always go first by a hair, so you can shut down your duplicates all at once. After you take out your mirror squad, the rest of her mechanics are pretty easy to deal with, especially because she's actually pretty vulnerable to turn meter manipulation herself, so you can nuke down the Dark Fae without too much worry. And not only that, there is a ton happening in Raid this month. They're bringing out 5 badass looking new champions. They're overhauling the champion vault. They've got a load of awesome smaller updates as well, and on top of that, Raid's running a huge series of Summer Splash events for the whole month, where you can get your hands on some incredible skins for everyone's favourite dwarf, Trunder. But wait, there's more. Raid's currently running a special Delinia case event where you can get your hands on the amazing Delinia, a brand new legendary champion from the High Elves faction, just by logging in. All you have to do is log in and play Raid for 7 days between now and July the 28th, and you'll get Delinia for free. That's it. If you're new to Raid Shadow Legends and you enter this promo code that you can see on the screen right now, you'll get your hands on loads of stuff. You get 50 XP brews to instantly get your legendary hero Delinia to max level 50, as well as a ton of silver and loads of other goodies. This is the best time to get started in Raid. If you click my link in the description or scan my QR code on the screen you can see right now, you will get unique bonuses worth up to $30. We're talking a free champion, Tariel, 200,000 silver, 1 energy refill and 1 XP boost, and 1 ancient shard, so you can summon awesome champions as soon as you get into the game. First up, let's take a look at the ZEN change. Now, ZEN was an absolute giga chad of a support. He was impossible to kill. So his shield health has been reduced from 175 to 150. This means his total max HP has been reduced to 200. Now, what I really like about these ZEN changes is, you guys remember the first beta? Everybody was like, oh my god, supports are terrible, they're so weak. Well, that was the reaction after, let's say, a week of gameplay. But once players started to adapt to this new 5v5 world, it kind of became, well, actually supports are not that weak. Some supports are weaker than others, sure. But Blizzard went ahead and started making changes. Now, you've got to remember, the supports have got a passive health regen, which actually is really nice for ZEN, because ZEN also regenerates his shields anyway, so it's kind of nice for ZEN. Anyway, ZEN got a health buff. This made him more tanky because at the time, you had DPS with a passive which let them move faster. So on the new maps where there's loads of flanks, you would get Tracers and Genjis absolutely killing ZEN over and over again. In fact, it was suicidal to play ZEN. So we ended up with a bunch of buffs as a result of changes that they had, which have now been reverted because the DPS passive is now the ultimate charge sharing between DPS heroes when you change. ZEN was just left with his massive 200 HP or 225 HP, which made him an absolute killing machine because he was difficult to kill. He's ZEN, so he's got massive damage output anyway. His heals have always been fine. His ultimate's great. But here's the thing with ZEN, right? I really love ZEN. You guys can probably tell from this gameplay footage. I really, really like ZEN. I enjoy ZEN. One of the supports that I would play quite a lot. ZEN and Ana are probably my favorite supports. However, ZEN's Discord Orb is the single most powerful thing in 5v5. It is incredibly powerful. So if ZEN himself is powerful and is played all the time, then Discord is everywhere. And the people who really suffer from Discord are tanks with no active mitigation. This is tanks like Junker Queen, right? You Discord Junker Queen, she can't do anything about it. She just runs around with Discord on and then dies. it's not great. Also, if you anti-nade her, she can't heal herself, so she's just going to die faster. But Discord's always been powerful. I think this is something that may get looked at in the future because Zen's power level is intrinsically tied to Discord because it is incredibly powerful. So I think we'll have to wait and see. But as a nerf, I think it was needed. Okay, let's talk about Sim. Now, I kind of want to do an experiment here. Watch this gameplay and think of a hero or 2 or 3 or 4 that would be more effective doing what I'm doing now. Symmetra's still got this identity problem to me. So what they've done is reduce the charge time on alternate fire, and they've increased the size of the projectile. And they've also reduced the cooldown on teleporter from 6 to 12 seconds. 16, sorry, to 12. If they reduced it from 6 to 12, something's going on. From 16 to 12, right? Now, again, my problem with this hero is I think she's really strong in very, very, very niche scenarios, and a lot of those are centered around maybe controlling a point on a map or game mode like this. Great, you've got turrets on your point. Or in Assault. Now, Assault's not even in the game anymore, so she kind of loses a lot of, like, inherent power because you can't even play on that map type anymore. So, I don't know. Maybe we see a world where Sim is used to bypass chokes, maybe on the new Rio map, for example, on the first point. And she's just a super, super niche thing. I think the issue is, Blizzard... I mean, look at this 1v1 here. It just feels like, oh, I wish I was anybody else at this point. But I think that Blizzard have still got this issue with the hero, and it needs an identity, and maybe they just need to commit to another rework. I don't know. However, Junker Queen tried to commit to an ultimate there and got railgunned in the head. Now, Sojourn has been nerfed, and this is one that I think is fine. I think this is really, really fine. So Sojourn's railgun, the fire rate, has been reduced from 15 to 14 per second. Now, this means you just fire less of your primary fire, which means you get less of your railgun charge, which means you get less fully charged railguns. But they're still really good a fully charged railgun, as you can see. I just deleted Brig and I've been killing everyone with it. However, the railgun has been changed, though. So the projectile radius now scales with energy level from 0 up to the previous 0.1 meters. The higher the energy level, the bigger the projectile radius. So what this does is it basically makes you fully charge your railgun to get the old railgun hitbox size, which is basically a Hanzo arrow. Now, I'm pretty sure this was actually in the alpha. You know, I think this ability first started, or maybe it started with the big projectile size, and then they tried the adaptive size on railgun charge. Now they're kind of going back to it. Maybe a little bit confused there, but I think it's an interesting thing to kind of contemplate. But what this means is the gameplay flow for this hero is pretty much spam, get 100% charge, and then try and delete somebody in the back line. Now, it's still going to be as effective at deleting people in the back line because you've still got the same chunky railgun size, effectively. Now, the hero itself is very, very powerful in Overwatch League. And I don't know whether any of you guys have been watching Overwatch League. I've been watching the odd game. I've been checking out Spitfire games every now and again just because I think they're doing really well with the roster they've got and the investment they get from their ownership group, which is basically nothing. It's absolutely amazing what they've managed. But they... Sojourn's everywhere, right? Sojourn is in every game. The pros never miss, and this is the thing with the pro players, the hit scan players especially. I mean, my man Kai, who plays for Atlanta Reign, probably one of the best Sojourns there is, just because his aim is incredible. If you give somebody the ability to just delete another player if they click on their head, they're going to do that over and over again. So we see a hell of a lot of Sojourn getting played, and it pushes other heroes out of the meta. And I think the issue with Sojourn, it's maybe a little bit more than this railgun change. It's knowing when she's got full charge when you're playing against her. She's very, very frightening. You don't know if she's going to hit you with 100 rail or she's just going to hit you with like a 30 charged rail, you know? And I think if they can convey that better to the enemy team, then she'll be a bit easier to play against because it'll be like, oh no, Sojourn's got fully charged. We need to sort of get out of her way. I mean, she does glow like when she uses overclock and when she's got fully charged, but I don't think it's enough. But yeah, I'm okay with this change because she's still the same Sojourn that we've kind of come to love. Now, I want to talk about Junker Queen, because Junker Queen is... like, Junker Queen. Okay, so they've nerfed her. But what they've done to Commanding Shout is the radius is reduced from 20 to 15 meters. The allied bonus health now decays over its duration, but the maximum duration has been increased from 4 to 5 seconds. Now, eagle-eyed viewers may notice whenever I pop this in this gameplay clip, it basically functions like a Lucio sound barrier on your allies, so it will start decaying. On you, it will not decay. You still get the full benefit for the whole duration. And obviously, you know, if you're taking damage, it's going to get removed. That's really good. But what I think about this hero is she is goddamn amazing to play. She's very similar to Orisa, and we'll get on to Orisa in a second. But Blizzard have absolutely nailed the way this hero plays, the way the kit interacts with the hero. You're always doing something with Junker Queen. The issue Junker Queen's got is other heroes, right? If she's playing against an Ana that anti-nades her over and over again, she just dies. And that's a problem. And there's a bunch of other heroes that cause loads of problems with Junker Queen, because Junker Queen is very feast or famine. You need to get in there and do damage to keep yourself alive. And if you're not doing damage, you may as well not exist. You're also pretty much a... Well, you are. You're a point-blank, close-range hero. You need to be on top of the enemy. And if you're not, you can be easily bullied away. She's very susceptible to a lot of long-range pressure. She's very susceptible to long-range poke. She's fun to play, but she is... I don't want to say she's weak, because I don't think that's fair. Because this, what you're about to see here, is awesome, I think. The fact that you can just outplay Transcendence like that, it's so cool. And obviously, you're going in there, you're committing with your team are going to push forward with you. And of course, yeah, you could do this with an anti-nade if you were Ana as well. Just throw it at Zen and it hits everybody around. But yeah, like, I think Junker Queen is really well made, but I'm not sure where she fits into the game long term. Because I think she might just be one of those kind of... I don't want to say a troll pick, but she's like a comfort fun pick. If the enemy don't want to counter you, then you can just play her. And I'm afraid the enemy counter you by playing Zen, by playing Ana. If you see them on the other team, you're basically dead as Junker Queen. And there's a lot of those guys going around right now. Okay, let's talk about Orisa. Because this is very similar to Junker Queen. I think Blizzard have done an incredible job with this rework in terms of how fun it is to play. Is it effective? I don't know. Now, I'm playing into a Junker Queen here, and I think this is why it's making me appear more effective than I would be if I was maybe playing into a different tank. So what they've done in terms of the changes to Orisa are, well, basically this always should have been a thing, and I don't know why Blizzard actually reverted this, but Fortify now disables all critical damage, so you can't be headshot when you're using Fortify. Javelin Spin, the bonus movement speed, is increased from 40 to 50%. So you move quicker when you're using Javelin Spin. Now, the Javelin Spin, I think, yeah, that's fine, whatever. I like the extra mobility. It lets you get into positions quicker to maybe mitigate some damage, because that is her tank ability. However, Fortify, with Fortify having the headshot critical, which it did in the previous patch, it meant that every time you use your ultimate, you just died, because it just shot you in the head. Every time you use Fortify, they just shoot you in the head. Now, Orisa uses Fortify, and she doesn't have a critical hitbox on her anywhere, so she can't take that extra crit damage, which makes her more survivable. This means you can use her ultimate easier. This means you can sort of YOLO into the enemy team. You can pop the ultimate. You've seen me do it once in this video clip. You're going to see me do it again. Now, a primary fire, I think it's okay. It's fine. But the bigger issue with this hero, again, comes into where is the power level in 5v5 in tanks? At the moment, it's in a dive tanks, basically. If you've got rapid movement and you can dive onto the enemy, you can shut them down and you're very, very powerful. Or it's sort of in see, this is where it kind of gets confusing, because mitigation tanks are very strong. So Reinhardt's also strong, but dive tanks that can mitigate are also very strong. And I don't know, like, it's sort of like, again, if you watch too much of the pro play, you can just sit there and go, well, and actually the pros are not playing on this patch now anyway. They're playing on the older patch, which makes it more confusing watching Overwatch League. But you look at the tanks and you generally see the Reinhardt, you see the Winston. They're mainly the tanks that you see. Very rarely do you see other tanks. You don't see D.Va, because D.Va's too easy to cause damage and kill. Basically, you can just shoot the D.Va, and if she doesn't have defense matrix, she's a big ult battery. You never see Roadhog. You do see some Zarya sometimes, though. And Doomfist every now and again, although... Let's talk about this new Doomfist. Yeah, so this... I'm terrible at this Doomfist, and it's just because I'm way out of practice, so just ignore this gameplay. It's going to be terrible. But the way Doomfist works now is they've actually buffed him quite a bit, and I think this is actually going to be a really good buff for Doomfist. So minimum damage has been mitigated. Minimum damage mitigated required to empower Rocket Punch reduced from 100 to 90 damage, so you can charge Rocket Punch quicker. Movement speed penalty while blocking has been reduced from 50 to 35%, so you can move faster when you block. Now here's the big one. You're about to see it. Well, you've just seen it actually. Rocket Punch. This now deals multiple damage to all enemies not back. Now, in the past, it would only damage the target that you hit. But if it was fully charged, it would hit that target and then knock everyone else back. But now it deals damage to all enemies knocked back instead of only just the first target. This means if you get fully charged with Doomfist and you rocket punch into a group, you can do a ton of damage. Like you can, especially if they smash into a wall. So if you jump down, smash an enemy team into a wall, that's a massive buff. Like that is a huge buff for this hero. Now again, like I said, I'm terrible with this hero. I don't seem to be getting much value with him. I'm caught out of position. I just don't have enough playtime with him. He's just, it still feels really strange to me that he's a tank, although it does make sense, and I do think Blizzard again have done a really good job with this rework because he still sort of plays like the original Doomfist. I think what they're doing with these changes is putting more of the power on his fist. It's like Blizzard really like the fist. It's the identity of Doomfist. It's in his name, I guess. So I think this is a massive buff, and I think out of all the buffs that we've seen in this patch so far, I think this one could potentially be the biggest one. And we might see Doomfist everywhere. Again, the issue with this is the beta is only going to be live, I think, until the 28th of this month. And by the way, if you signed up to the beta through the Blizzard website, you should have access to it now because I think they've opened it up to everyone. So it's going to be kind of difficult to test this and see what happens. It's not enough time. I mean, I guess if things are broke, Blizzard may change it. But this is what I think Blizzard are doing. They're definitely looking at launch, and this could potentially be the last patch before we get the launch of the game in October. We don't know if they're going to do other betas. They might. I don't know. I wouldn't bet on it. I'm not sure they will. Maybe they give us a look at PvE. I don't know. But these changes are really cool. I think the only one I'm really annoyed with is, well, it's a Symmetra change. And I keep banging on about this, but I just feel like Symmetra in this world is very much getting left behind. And I don't know whether Blizzard have got the bandwidth, the capacity, or the capability to go back and rework her again. Because, yeah, they're working on new heroes. They've got new heroes in this game right now that they're trying to balance. They're trying to balance for 5v5. So everything is all over the place with this game. But, yeah, this is a patch note video, which has been a long time coming. And it feels a bit strange because it feels like I haven't made a video for a long, long time. But I guess this is the world we're in right now with Overwatch. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, do let me know what you think about this in the comments below. I think this is overall good for the game. And I think Blizzard are moving the game in the right direction. And, yeah, I just can't wait to get more playtime in this new world of Moira with a skill shot, which is also really kind of powerful. And Doomfist with a Mega Punch. All right, guys, I've been Stylosa. You can follow me on everything, which is at Stylosa or StylosaUL on TikTok. And I will catch you lovely, lovely lot on the next video. See you soon.